Hey y'all, and welcome to Brawl. My name is Brian, and JD Vance at this Trump rally in St. Cloud, Minnesota gives a fantastic speech just ripping apart, cackling Kamala Harris. But before we get into the video, I want to give a quick shout out to our amazing sponsor, Colonial Metals Group. They literally have the cure to Bidenflation, but more on that later. Now, let's get back into the video.
In the 2020 primary, Harris dropped out months before they even cast the first vote. She was so unpopular, she polled in the low single digits among Democrats the entire campaign. She wasn't even the top 3 in her home state of California, and that is pretty embarrassing, ladies and gentlemen. And the reason is because Democrats know that the American people would never elect a San Francisco liberal who's so far outside the mainstream. Now, we've got to give some credit to our Democrat friends, because they were right in 2020. The American people are never going to elect a wacky, out-of-touch San Francisco liberal like Kamala Harris. Now, I saw the other day Kamala Harris question my loyalty to this country. That's the word she used, loyalty. And it's an interesting word, simplify, loyalty, because there is no greater sign of disloyalty to this country than what Kamala Harris has done at our southern border. And I'd like to ask the Vice President, what has she done to question my loyalty to this country? I served in the United States Marine Corps. I went to Iraq for this country. I built a business for this country. And my running mate took a bullet for this country. So my question to Kamala Harris is, what the hell have you done to question our loyalty to the United States of America? And the answer, my friends, is nothing. So let's send a message to the media. Let's send a message to Kamala Harris. Let's send a message to every hardworking patriot from Minnesota across the country. We are ready to have President Donald J. Trump back, and we're going to work our tails off to make sure it happens. God bless you all. Thank you. And thank you for having me, Minnesota, a great state.
Now that's a speech. And the mainstream media is trying to paint him as the crazy one? Ugh. They don't get it, do they? They don't get the fact that Kamala Harris abused her power as both Attorney General and as a prosecutor from San Francisco. She forced prisoners to have longer sentences to fight their wildfires. Seriously, Californian management is terrible. Some of it can be blamed on terrain. It's tough to manage a terrain where granted they have deserts, huge mountains, multiple mountain ranges for that matter, landslides, and even sometimes during dry seasons, their power lines, if the wind hits just right, they'll hit the ground and start a wildfire. You'd think that would cause that state to manage its resources better, but no, it doesn't. There's currently a massive wildfire going on in California all over again. And that's a story that happens pretty much every summer now. Y'all, times are rough. Record inflation is still not under control. We have a president who doesn't know what planet he's on. And the Federal Reserve continues to make dumb decision after dumb decision after dumb decision. You can gamble on Wall Street all you want, but if you want to diversify and protect your wealth, you need to look into my friends over at Colonial Metals Group. These amazing experts understand how to keep your wealth safe and protected from the volatility of our current market. And there's even a great deal for first-time accounts. Free gold and silver-backed IRA accounts, insurance on whatever precious metals you happen to buy for 5 years, up to $7,500 worth of silver, and a nice safe for you to keep all this good stuff in. So go take a look at their website, link in the description below, or call the phone number below so you can talk personally to Paul Stone, CEO, and his amazing team of experts to protect your wealth today. They don't manage their wildlife properly. When I was a park ranger, we had whole divisions of people whose single job it was to go out there and manage not the wildlife, but manage the plant life. There were invasive species. For instance, if you know what a tumbleweed is, classic old icon of the West, except that it's not. It's actually from Russia. Tumbleweeds came over by mistake in the exact same way fire ants got here. And if you know what fire ants are, you steer clear of those and you use Andro. But that's not the point of this speech. The point of this speech is to remind people of who J.D. Vance actually is, not who Kamala Harris is. We know that she's cackling. We know she's mean-spirited. We know that she's pretty much only good behind closed doors. She's just an unnatural person who doesn't seem like she could get along with anyone except, for some reason, the bored old man that ended up marrying her. I'm guessing that she has some good qualities somewhere. You can't really get someone to marry you unless you have something worthwhile. But as a politician, Kamala Harris has had a history of abusing her power, saying outlandishly dumb things, and being so unpopular that she couldn't win over a single delegate during the Democrat primary. And the only reason she's vice president is because Stacey Abrams from Georgia turned down Joe Biden because she wanted more control and power. He told her, no, you are going to be the black woman token. You are going to be my DEI hire. And she turned him down flat. I'll bet she's regretting that decision right about now. But who is J.D. Vance? J.D. Vance is an American success story. He came from a broken home in rural Appalachia. That usually spells doom for a person. Because if you've been out into rural Appalachia, like I have, you've seen the poverty, you see the hopelessness, and the biggest irony is Appalachia should be the next mecca. It's primed for a massive uptick of people moving in because there is infrastructure there that's ready to handle businesses. There's plenty of water. It's a cooler climate. The desert southeast that we have, it's drying up. So in about 10 years, we might see a complete cultural shift in Appalachia, which I'll be perfectly fine with. But J.D. Vance had a grandmother who took care of him, raised him. And so, with a proper education, with a better orientation, he went into the military, served in Iraq. And by the way, I've known some people that have come back from Iraq. You don't come back the same person. Some of them have been so traumatized that they were unrecognizable. J.D. Vance, however, doesn't seem like he had that. So I don't know what he did during his employment, but he still served his country and served it faithfully. He then wrote his book, Hillbilly Elegy, talking about how he got to where he got. And at one time, he was a huge never-Trumper, so was I. However, after his administration, and in my case, seeing the media sit on a story that could have gotten him, they should have bumped him off during the primaries, but they waited until as an October surprise, just days before the election, dropped the story, and that's when I went full Trump. Not because I approved of what he did, but because the media has been so dishonest and disgusting that it must be stopped. That something has to change. We need people who are going to break the narratives. That's one of the reasons why I'm doing this on this channel. It's not just because I had an opportunity. It's because I truly believe we need other voices telling you what's going on, telling you the truth. And that's not happening in our mainstream media. And they're out here trying to drag J.D. Vance through the mud and call him the weird dude. Meanwhile, you'll have cackling Kamala Harris laughing at inappropriate times, trying to show that she's a chill person when we clearly know she's not. She is a deeply weird candidate, and they're deflecting hard to make you think that J.D. Vance is dumb or that J.D. Vance is weird. Please, we've seen the footage of Kamala Harris, and we're seeing great footage of him. That was a fantastic speech here. This man does have the chops to be vice president because he is a true American success story, and I am here for it. Folks, my name is Brian. Hope you enjoyed this segment here on Politibrawl. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Catch you on the next one. And until then, y'all have a good one.